together now!
Solidarity forever.
I got a call the other day from a very concerned dog lover. She said, G-Man, please help. My dog won't eat. So I've got a bit of a disclaimer. For some people, this may be a little bit confronting. This is Cooper. Many of you would have seen him in some of my videos. Cooper is a Maltese Shih Tzu cross. He's about 6 kilos and he should probably be maybe a little bit lighter than this. But he's getting old. He's 11 years of age and still looks like a little puppy. Hey Cooper. And this is Coco. I'm sure Coco doesn't like being this size. If there's any wonder why your dog doesn't eat, it's because he's full. As cute as this little one is, he certainly doesn't deserve to be this size. We're going to get you on a diet. We'll feed you some good food. 6 kilos? Ugh. 14 kilos. I try to stay away from politics. There are so many YouTubers who have a better grasp of the political climate than I do. Since I was eligible to vote, I always voted for the party who would do great things for our country. I don't care whether they are good-looking, woke, a womaniser, an iron-fisted bulldog, or an ass-pinching misogynist. I care about how they will protect my country from alien invasion, provide me with cheap energy to keep me warm in winter and cool in summer, and laws to stop evil people doing evil things. What I also care about are the people who we elected listen to the majority of the opinions raised by everyday people and go about doing their job. For my now 13 overseas viewers, you may not be aware that Australia does not have a functioning government. We have a circus full of clowns, a schnuckle of snowflakes, and a barrel of weak, backstabbing politicians. Let me introduce to you a woman who is such a hypocrite that women around the world should be ashamed to have her in the sisterhood. And it doesn't stop with her. Enter Julie Bishop. She has taken aim at the behaviour of her parliamentary colleagues, saying that she has witnessed appalling behaviour that she would never have accepted while running a major law firm 20 years ago. She was speaking at a Women's Weekly Awards event in Sydney, where she expanded on her experience of being a senior woman in the Turnbull government. Ms Bishop said it was not acceptable that less than a quarter of MPs in the Liberal Party were women. It's not acceptable for our party to contribute to the fall in Australia's ratings from 15th in the world in terms of female parliamentary representation in 1999 to 50th today. There's a lot to be done. Our party, in fact all parties, recognise they have a problem in attracting and maintaining women and diversity in general. She said recent events had prompted a discussion on the bullying, intimidation, harassment and coercion by federal politicians and unfair equal treatment of women. Now G-Mann says that if there is unfair equal treatment of women by federal politicians, then use your privilege to name names and give us some examples. Politics is robust. The very nature of it is not for the faint-hearted. She says, I have seen and witnessed and experienced some appalling behaviour in Parliament, the kind of behaviour that 20 years ago, when I was managing partner of a law firm of 200 employees, I would never have accepted. I was at the law firm where you worked very hard to stop asbestos victims getting compensation. Huh? Just saying. And are you the same Julie Bishop who stood by and watched the bullying and harassment of Australia's first female Prime Minister and did nothing?
Mr Pengilly described Julia Gillard as a dog,
offering this comment on the Prime Minister.
Your name is not Julia, but Julia.
The people that elected this bloody bitch in. It's the witch!
Or when you left James Ricketson to rot in a Cambodian prison. Your treatment of him is far more appalling and heartless than schoolyard politics.
James Ricketson was found guilty of espionage after being arrested last year for flying a drone over a political rally.
It was a decision long delayed and much dreaded. The Australian father sentenced to 6 years in a Cambodian prison.
What's that old saying? The behaviour that you walk past is the behaviour that you accept. And let's not forget that you were the deputy leader. I can hear you all screaming at the sanitarium, G-Mann, can you give us some examples of the bullying and harassment that she's talking about? Well, I guess there was a hint that there was some kind of poor behaviour from Senator Kelly O'Dwyer. Take a look.
The Minister for Women, Kelly O'Dwyer, says some MPs were subject to threats and intimidation as pressure was applied to win their support.
Well, I'm frankly a little bit disgusted by that. I think that Julia Banks is no petal, she's no snowflake and she's no princess.
The Minister for Women has given credence to the complaints, revealing some have tried to bully her unsuccessfully.
Parliament can be a pretty robust place, but certainly there is behaviour that is outside of the accepted bounds.
We want names. Please name names. Oh wait, we finally have an example. Lucy Gachui on your boot was asked to explain how she was intimidated, and she described the pressure of the rapid events between Mr Turnbull's self-promoted spill in early September and the ballot called by Mr Dutton. You're going to love this snowflake. She said, "We didn't have time to think things through, so everything was happening so fast. That itself is a form of intimidation because you're supposed to make a very important decision within a very short time." Is she serious? Turnbull's leadership had been an open question for months. It then came to head over 4 long days. I think the team are getting restless. I think the big one is eating all the others. I'll be back in a sec. Never disturb a dog who's drinking. Happy? Where were we? Now this little snowflake Gachui feels intimidated and bullied because she was asked to make a decision. Man, if that is intimidation, then every single worker faced with deadlines or urgent decisions, like, police, journalists, soldiers, doctors, is intimidated. And Nirvana is a country where slackers and ditherers never need to make a decision until the bus is over the cliff. Oh, that's a bit harsh, G-Man. Women pushing this bullying story are doing other women a terrible disservice by making their gender seem incapable of handling the responsibility, accountability, and pressure that inevitably comes from being a politician. Well, G-Man was bullied this morning. My coffee machine kept beeping at me, annoying me, intimidating me. It just kept beeping at me incessantly, telling me, no, in fact, demanding that I fill up the water tank and add a fresh coffee pod. Otherwise, I would not get a cup of coffee. It was bullying at its worst. It just kept beeping at me. It ordered me to fill up the water tank and add another coffee pod. Finally, I succumbed to the pressure and did what was needed just so I could enjoy a cup of coffee. It was almost blackmail. The emotional scars will last forever. After enjoying my bully blend coffee, I had a bit of a cry on my pillow, then tried to piece myself together. It took me quite a while. After all, I had made a decision and took action. Now then, how do I recount this terrible bullying ordeal to someone that cares? Now let's get back to this Kelly O'Dwyer character. There was not a single example of bullying that she gave in that long interview decrying bullying. She does say, well, I've had conversations with many members of Parliament, both male and female, and it is clear to me that people were subject to threats and intimidation and bullying. But that isn't just over the course of the last week. But what then? Where? When? How? Who? I want to leave the last word to Mark Latham, the host of The Outsiders and former Rebel host. He says, where does the Liberal Party get these people from? After a week of debating bullying inside the Liberal Party, one of the so-called victims, Senator Lucy Gachui on the boot, has finally given an example of what this involved. She says she felt intimidated by the pace of decision-making to get rid of Malcolm Turnbull over 4 days. That's it. For this snowflake senator, that is supposed to be bullying, having to make a decision about the Liberal leadership in a sitting week. Churchill got his army off the beaches of Dunkirk in a week. Kennedy solved the Cuban Missile Crisis in 13 days, yet Snowflake Gachui felt bullied by having to participate in 2 Liberal Party ballots over 4 days. How pathetic is that? So I have decided to start up my own political party called the Australia Senior Senators. In short, that is the My Arse Party. Now go away and vote one for my arse. I'm Gerald Pauschmann for The Point TV.